yogis, and welcome to Pure Yoga Vinyasa flow with a reduction practice. So we're going to be taking a pose off every time we flow our left and right sides. So we're going to be doing 2 vinyasas through the practice in between each side. If you want to reduce it to 1 and take that vinyasa slower, feel free to do that. Or if you want to do 2 with me, feel free to come with me. Okay, knees nice and wide, starting in child's pose. Bring your seat back towards your heels first, then bring the hands in front of you and try and keep that seat back towards the heels as you start to walk the fingers forward. Slowly bringing that chest down towards the mat and the forehead to the floor. Try and keep those sit bones back as close as you can. They don't have to touch if they don't necessarily get there easy, but if you can, keep them back. When you have arrived in child's pose, take a nice long deep breath in and a long sigh back out through the mouth. Bring your focus to the fingertips and scan from them all the way down to the toe tips, having a check-in with all the joints as you go, the wrists, the elbows, the shoulders. Thinking about that whole spine from the crown of the head down to the tailbone. Thinking about the joints around the hips, the knees, the ankles, all those joints on the feet, around the toes, and the joints around the fingers. Just being fully aware of the mobility of those joints and how they move, and noticing through your practice whether you're prone to hyperextension or whether you're quite good at holding your muscles and keeping a little microbend in those joints. If you are hyperextensive, I really encourage that microbend just to help you switch on the muscles around those joints to protect them. On a breath in, walk the hands over to the right side of the mat. Maybe you're starting to connect with that Ujjayi breath, slight restriction at the back of the throat, breathing in and out through the nose only, unless you feel you need to use the mouth. Stretching down that left side waist, into that left hip, into the lower back. Walking the hands back through centre, taking them over to the opposite side, right hand on top of the left this time, and settle to the inside of that left thigh. Maybe taking those breaths a little longer as you go. Taking them a little further down that torso, maybe into the belly. On your next breath in, start to walk the hands back to centre and take a breath out in neutral spine. Then make your way up onto your hands and knees, bringing the heel of the hands under the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips. Step both feet back into a plank position, and let's hold our plank for a couple of breaths. If at any point you need to drop the knees to the floor, feel free to drop them. Make sure you have a little bend in those elbows. Make sure you're pushing firmly into the hands and the chest, into that space between the shoulder blades. Squeezing the bum, drawing the belly back. Heels back, crown forward. Taking a breath here. And then on your next out breath, lift up with the hips and start to paddle the feet as you arrive in your first downward facing dog of practice. Maybe having a nod and a shake of the head if that feels comfortable, making sure you're not getting too stretched along that back chain at the start of practice. Maybe going in and out of flexion and extension helps that feel a little more comfortable as that practice starts to get longer. Then bringing those heels to a still position, encouraging them back towards the mat. On an in-breath, come forward to plank, come taking option 1. On an out-breath, drop the knees, lower the chest towards the mat. On an in-breath, lift up with the chest. On an out-breath, lower the chest back down. On an in-breath, send the chest back towards the thighs. On an out-breath, lift up with the hips and squeeze the heels back. Taking option 2 or stay with option 1, forward to plank inhale and lower straight body, engage through the centre. Breath in, lift the chest. Breath out, lower the chest back down. Toes tuck, breath in, chest back towards the thighs. Breath out, lift the hips and squeeze the heels back. to downward facing dog. Choose option 1, option 2 or option 3 if you're with me. Come forward to plank on the inhale and lower to a hover on your exhale. Lift the chest on the inhale, thighs away, and on an out breath, lift up with the hips and squeeze the heels back to down dog. Remember, you're taking an extra breath if it's chest back to thighs, meeting back here. We have another option, but we've got to take 2 vinyasas to cover it. We're going to be taking a lift of the right leg first. So lift the right leg, stick with your option if you wish. Come forward to plank with the leg lifted and lower towards the mat or a hover. Bring your right foot down and untuck your left toes and lift the chest. And then take it back to down dog, lifting the hips and squeezing the heels back or chest back to thighs. Meet me back in down dog. Whenever we've done one side, we always do the other, which is why we're putting 2 vinyasas in the centre of both left and right sides. Weight stays in your right foot, left leg lifts, come forward to a plank, and on an out breath, lower to the floor or a hover. Then drop the left foot onto the right toes and lift the chest to your up dog. Then send yourself back to down dog, lifting the hips and squeezing of the heels back. We have one more option vinyasa to show you if you want to come with me, or take one of the first 3 but not the leg lift because we're not doing 2 of these. Coming with me, bend the knees, soften the elbows, scoop the body through to a hover. Lift up with the chest, taking the thighs away, and then sending yourself back to down dog, lifting the hips and squeezing of the heels back. Have a nod, have a shake of the head. Let's start our flow on our right side. We have 6 poses to go through. Weight stays in your left foot, your right leg lifts, bend the knees, stack up with the hips. Realign the hips, bring the knee to the chest. Gaze in between the hands as you step your foot through. Your left heel drops, your left hand windmills open over, we straighten both legs. Then send your left hand down the back of the left leg as you reach the right hand up. Taking our reverse triangle, both legs straight but no lockout in joints. Breathe into that right rib cage, maybe gaze to that right hand. Then stacking the shoulder over the hips. Reach forward and down with the right hand as your left hand lifts. Again, try not to hyperextend that right knee. Keep the muscles of the thighs switching on to protect it. Gaze can be up to left hand, out to the side, or down to the right foot. Taking then a bend into your right knee, bringing your right hand to the inside of the right leg, turning your left palm, reaching the left arm up and over to the front of the mat. Just holding this side angle stretch with the right hand down on the floor. If you want to modify here, you can bring the right forearm onto the right thigh. Whatever feels most comfortable for you at this point of practice. Maybe you can progress it as your body warms up. Bringing your left hand up to the ceiling, send it back to the back of the room. Turn the shoulders to the mat, left hand scoots down and around, and then toes of the back foot as you reach both hands up. Stay bent in the right knee. Bring the hands together at the chest, lean forward. Left elbow, right knee and hook. Try and use the out breath to find the twist, the in breath to create that space. Always using abdominal contraction as you breathe out. On your next breath in, raise the hands back up towards the ceiling. And then dropping your left heel to the mat, reaching your right hand forward and your left hand back, maybe gazing to those right fingertips. Maybe sinking into that right knee a little deeper. Warrior 2, palms down. Then bringing your left arm down and around and forward to meet the right. Come onto the toes of the back foot. Right hand up and over to the back of the room and rotate to the right side. Keep the hips low, keep the left heel pushing back to straighten that left leg. Then on an out breath, bring those hands down, either side of the right foot, step your right foot back to plank, lift up with the hips and squeeze the heels back. We're taking 2 vinyasas. I'm starting with option 1, then 2. Come forward to plank on the inhale and lower on your exhale. Lift your chest on the inhale and either go back over the toes or chest back to thighs. Exhale, inhale, chest back. Lift hips, squeeze heels back on an exhale. I'm taking option 2 Vinyasa, forward to plank, inhale, and lower all the way to the mat, exhale. Untuck the toes, lift the chest, inhale. Release the chest back down, exhale. Toes tuck, chest back to thighs, inhale. Lift up the hips and squeeze the heels back on your exhale. All meeting back in down dog. Ready to take our side of the left with 6 poses. Weight stays in your right foot, left leg lifts, bend at the knee and stack up with the hips. Realign the hips, bring the knee to the chest. Step the foot through, drop your right heel, right hand windmills up, over, straighten the left leg, left hand to the ceiling, right hand down the back of the right leg, finding our reverse triangle pose, both legs straight, pushing firmly into the mat. And then stacking the shoulders on top of the hips. Reach forward and down with your left hand as your right hand lifts. Try not to hyperextend left knee. Tuck your left shoulder under the right, your left sit bone tucking under, and you turn your right hip out. Then taking a bend into your left knee, the left forearm, left thigh, or left hand to inside a left leg. Reach the right hand up and over to stretch that right side waist. Maybe gaze up to that right hand. Keep that left arm pushing the left knee out to the side. Then sending the right hand up, back, down, turn the shoulders, onto the toes of the back foot as you raise the hands up. Then bring the hands to the chest, lean forward, right elbow, left knee. Breathe in, length, breathe out, rotate. Try and use that breath. Make it your tool of practice. On your next breath in, raise both hands back up. Drop your right heel down, right hand back, left hand forward to find our warrior 2 position. Hips stay low, left knee stays bent, right leg stays straight. Crown of the head stacking on top of that spine. Scooping your right arm down and around and coming onto the toes of the back foot. Left hand up and over, rotate to the left. Palms may be turned out to the left side. Hips neutral to the short edge, shoulders to the long edge. One more breath here. This pose is the one we'll be taking off on both sides. Out breath, windmill the hands down, either side of the left foot. Step the left foot back to plank. Lift the hips, squeeze the heels back. I'm taking option 2, then option 3 on my vinyasas. Coming forward on an inhale. I'm lowering all the way to the floor on the exhale. Lift the chest on the inhale and lower back down, exhale. Chest back to thighs, toes tuck, inhale. And then take it back to down dog on your exhale. Option 3 for me, come forward to plank, inhale. And lower to a hover, exhale. Lift the chest, inhale. And send it back to down dog on an exhale. Just holding down dog for a couple of breaths. Remember, your vinyasas can be choices. You can either go back to child's pose if you wish, if you don't want to do any of them. If you want to do cat-cow, hands and knees, articulating the spine. If you want to just do one long, slow vinyasa while we're taking 2, feel free to go there and count your breath. Maybe for 4 to plank and down to the floor and onwards from there. Let's take our right side with one pose reduced off. Weight stays in the left foot, the right leg lifts, bend the right knee and stack up with the hips. Realign the hips, bring the knee to the chest, gaze in between the hands and step the foot through. Left heel to the mat, left arm up and over and straighten both legs. Right hand reaches up and the left hand down the back of the left leg. Using the muscles in the waist to transition from floor all the way back to this side stretch. And then lifting the shoulders back up to stack. Reach forward and down with your right hand as your left hand lifts. Try and keep that strong upper thigh on the right leg to protect that joint. Right shoulder underneath the left, head in line with the spine. Take a bend into your right knee, either right forearm, right thigh, or right hand to the mat. Reach the left hand up and over to the front and hold that side angle stretch. And then sending that left arm back, down to scoop the floor, turn the shoulders, toes of the back foot, and then raise both hands up towards the ceiling. Bring the hands together at the chest, lean forward, left elbow hooks the right knee. Push the knee into the elbow and resist and push back. Try and use that twist from the waist. Keep the pelvis neutral, try not to let the left hip drop. Then reach both hands back up towards the ceiling. Drop your left heel, right hand forward, left hand back. Hips stay low, right knee bent, tracking that right knee towards the little toe on the right foot. This is our last pose on this side as we've dropped the last pose off. Windmill the hands down, either side of your right foot. Step your right foot back to meet left. Lift up the hips and squeeze the heels back. So I'm on this one taking the leg lift, doing right side then left side. Lifting the right leg, come forward to plank, inhale. Lower to a hover or floor, exhale. Drop the right foot onto the left toes, lift the chest, inhale. And send it back to down dog. On your exhale, left side if you're with me, left leg lifts. Come forward and lower to a hover or floor. Left foot drops, right toes untuck, chest lifts. Take it back to down dog. Lifting the hips and squeezing of those heels back. Going straight then to our left side. Breath in, our left leg lifts. We bend at the knee and we stack up with the hips. Realign the hips, bring the knee to the chest. Step the foot through, drop the right heel. Right hand comes up and over, left hand reaches, right hand down the right leg. And breathe into that left rib cage. Try and keep nice and strong around the core centre. Try not to hurt that lower back. Then lifting the shoulders up and over the hips, reaching forward and down with that left hand as that right hand lifts. Strong left thigh. Firmly pushing into the feet to find the stability. Gaze can be upside or down to that left foot. Then bringing a bend into your left knee, maybe left forearm, left thigh, or left hand to inside of left leg. Bringing your right hand up and over to side stretch on that right side. Maybe the gaze can be to the right hand. And then sending the right hand back up to the back of the room, down to the floor, turn the shoulders, toes of the back foot, and then reach both hands up to the ceiling. Bring the hands together at the chest, lean forward with the torso, right elbow, left knee, breathe in, elongation, breathe out, find your rotation. Reaching both hands back up towards the ceiling, then dropping your right heel back, right hand to the back of the room, left hand forward, gaze into those left fingertips, sinking into that left knee. Our last pose on this side. On your out breath, windmill the hands down, either side of that left foot. Step your left foot back to meet the right. Then lift up the hips and squeeze the heels back. So I'm taking choice of option 1, then option 5, which will be your scoop through. Come forward to plank first and drop the knees to the floor and lower. Breath in, lifts the chest. Breath out and lower. Remember your choice of vinyasa. Breath in, chest back to thighs. Breath out, lift hips and squeeze heels back. My option to go next is option 5. Bend the knees, bend the elbows and scoop the body through. Lift up with the chest and then take it back to down dog. Lifting the hips and squeezing the heels back. Ready to take round 3 with the right foot through. Weight stays in the left foot, Right leg lifts, bend the knee, stack up with the hips. Realign the knee, bring the knee to the chest, step the right foot through, left heel to the mat. Windmill left arm up, over, straighten right leg, right hand to ceiling, left hand down the back of the left leg. Breathe into that right rib cage. Try and protect the lower back and engage these abdominals at the front of the torso. Shoulders to stack, arms level with shoulders, then reach forward and down with the right hand as the left hand lifts. These transitions from reverse triangle through to full triangle really works those obliques, those muscles at the side of the waist. Bring a bend into your right knee, maybe right forearm, right thigh, or right hand to the mat, reaching that left hand up and over to the front. Sink those hips maybe a little lower, push a little firmer into the feet. Then scoop that left arm up, down, around. Raise both hands up to the ceiling to find lunge first. Then bring hands to chest. Lean forward, left elbow, right knee, and rotate to the right. So apart from in a moment bringing the hands back up, this is our last pose on this side. The reason we lift the arms up at the end is just to stretch that waist from the twist. On a breath in, reach the arms back up to the ceiling, turn the chest to the front, and then release the hands down either side of the right foot, step the right foot back to meet left. Lift up the hips and squeeze the heels back. On these two, I'm taking option 2 and option 5 again. Coming forward to a plank on the inhale, lowering with a straight body all the way to the mat on the exhale. Lift the chest on the inhale, release the chest back down on the exhale. Toes tuck and the chest comes back to thighs. Inhale, lift up with the hips and squeeze the heels back on the exhale. Going straight into option 5, bending the knees, bending the elbows and scooping the body through, lifting up with the chest and sending it back to down dog, lifting the hips and squeeze of those heels back. So we're still on round 3 doing the left side. Weight of the right goes into the right as you raise the left up. Bend the knee and stack it with the hips. Realign the hips and bring the knee to the chest. Gaze in between the hands as you step left foot through. Drop right heel to the mat, windmill right arm up, over, down the right leg as the left hand lifts to take our reverse triangle. Take a moment to arrive in the pose. And then bringing the shoulders to stack, reaching forward and down with the left hand as your right hand lifts. Shoulder of the right stacking on top of the left. Then bringing a bend into your left knee, either left hand to inside a left foot or left forearm, left thigh. Reaching up and over with the right hand to the front of the mat. And then lifting the right hand back up, back to the back of the room, down towards the mat. Turn the shoulders, toes of the back foot as you reach both hands up for your high lunge. Bring the hands to the chest, lean forward, right elbow, left knee. Breathe in, length, breathe out, rotate, trying to encourage those thumbs to the centre of the sternum. This is our last pose on this side. On your next breath in, raise both hands back up towards the ceiling. Stretch the sides of the waist from the twist. Then bring the hands down either side of the left foot. Step the left foot back to meet right. And then lift up the hips and squeeze the heels back. My 2 vinyasas are going to be right and left side leg lifts. Right leg lifts, and on an inhale to plank. Exhale, lower to a hover. I'm hopping off my back toes, dropping the right foot and lifting the chest. And then taking it back to down dog, lifting the hips and squeezing the heels back. Maybe you've taken option 1, 2, 3, 4 with me, or maybe 5. If you've taken option 4 on right, do option 4 on left. Raise the left leg up, come forward to a plank and lower to a hover. Hop off that back foot and drop that left. Lift the chest. Send it back to down dog. Lifting up of the hips and a squeeze of those heels back. Have a nod, have a shake of those heads. Let's take round 4 on the right side. Weight stays in the left foot, right leg lifts, bend to the right knee and stack up with the hips. Realign the hips, bring the knee to the chest. Gaze in between the hands, step your right foot through, left heel drops, left hand windmills up and over, straighten both legs. Right hand to the ceiling, left hand down to that left leg. Breathe into that right rib cage, lengthen the right side maybe a little more. And then stack the shoulders. Reach forward and down with the right hand as your left hand lifts. Maybe gaze up to that left thumb or down to the right thumb. Then bend into your right knee, maybe right forearm, right thigh, or right hand to inside of right foot, reaching your left arm up and over. As this is the last pose on this side, we can possibly take a bind. Half bind with left hand behind the right thigh, or full bind with right arm underneath the right thigh to find fingertips at the back of the right hip, keeping a nice long line through the torso and head in line with the spine. If you're bound, release the bind, bring your right hand back to the floor, reach your left hand back up. And then bring that left hand down to the mat, right hand to outside of right foot, step your right foot back and lift the hips, squeeze the heels back. I'm taking option 2 and option 3 with my 2 vinyasas. Coming forward to plank on the inhale and lowering all the way to the mat on the exhale. Lifting the chest on the inhale and releasing the chest back on the exhale. Toes tuck, chest back to thighs. Inhale, lift up with the hips and squeeze the heels back on the exhale. My option 3 is my chaturanga. Coming forward to plank on the inhale. Lower to a hover on the exhale. Lift the chest on the inhale and send it back to down dog on our exhale. Ready to take round 4 on the left side. Taking a couple of moments in down dog first just to reset the shoulders and the hips. Our weight stays in the right foot as our left leg lifts. Bend up the knee and stack up with the hips. Realign the hips, bring that left foot through in between the hands and drop the right heel to the floor. Right arm windmills up and over, left hand lifts up, right hand down the back of the right leg. Both legs straight, breathe into that left rib cage. Then bring the shoulders to stack, left arm reaches forward, switch on the upper left thigh to protect the left knee, reach right hand up to the ceiling. And then maybe taking a bend into that left knee with left forearm, left thigh, or left hand to the inside of the left foot, reaching your right hand up and over. You can stay here, or with it being the last pose this side, maybe we take a bind onto that left hip with the top arm, half bind. Maybe a full bind with the left hand underneath and find fingertips at that left hip. Elongate the left side waist, bend into that left knee, head in line with the spine and the shoulders open to the right side mat. And then if you're bound, let the left hand come down to the floor, reach the right hand back up to the ceiling. Then bring the right hand down to the mat, left hand to outside of left foot, toes of the back foot, step back to plank. Lift up the hips and squeeze the heels back, find down dog. So I'm going to be taking option 3, but I'm going to choose to do a push-up when I've lowered to chaturanga. I'm pushing back up and then lowering back down. Your choice. I'm doing this twice with my vinyasas. Forward to plank on the inhale, lower to a hover, exhale, push back up, inhale, lower back to a hover. Breath in, lift the chest, roll over the toes, take your back bend. And then send it back to down dog, lifting the hips, squeezing the heels back. I'm taking another vinyasa exactly like that, coming forward to plank, inhale, lowering to a hover, exhale, and lift back up, inhale, lower back to a hover, lift up with the chest, And then send the hips up and the heels back towards the mat to find our downward facing dog. Maybe come to the knees, take a moment in child's pose. So we're now knocking that last pose off. We have 2 poses to do on both sides. Maybe you've taken on some water in this little break. You've been working strong with those vinyasas on the shoulders. When you're ready, meet me back in down dog, shoulders over the heel of the hands, step both feet back to plank. Let's hold plank for a couple of breaths. And then lift up with the hips and squeeze the heels back, down, down, in down dog. Okay, let's go. Weight stays in your left foot, your right leg lifts. Bend at the knee and stack up with the hips. Realign the hips, bring the knee to the chest. Gaze in between the hands as you step your foot through. Left heel down, left hand up, over, left hand down the back of the left leg as the right hand lifts. Let's take our triangle pose. Right hand down to the inside of the right leg. Left hand lifts up to the ceiling. If you want to take a little bit more of a dynamic triangle pose, working the muscles in the waist, reach the left arm forward and bring the right arm up, bicep by the side of the ear. Hold that for another count of 3, 2, and 1. Right hand back down, left hand reaches back up. Turn the shoulders, bend the right knee, bring the left hand down, right hand down, and step yourself back to plank. Lift up with the hips and squeeze the heels back. I'm taking alternate lifted legs for these 2 vinyasas. Right leg lifts, forward to plank, inhale, and lower, exhale. Right foot drops, chest lifts, inhale. And take it back to down dog on your exhale. Opposite side, left leg lifts, or whatever vinyasa you've chosen to go with. Forward to plank and lower chaturanga. Drop the left foot and lift the chest. Send it back to down dog, lifting the hips and squeezing of those heels back. Weight stays in your right foot as your left leg lifts. Bend up the knee and stack up with the hips. Realign the hips, bring the knee to the chest. Gaze in between the hands as we step that foot through. Right heel drops, right hand windmills all the way up, over, sending the left hand up, right hand down the back of that right leg. Then lift the shoulders back to stack. Lean forward, down with left hand, right hand lifts. If you chose that variation on the other side, reach the right hand up and over, lift the left hand away from the left leg and hold the arms in space for the count of 3, 2, and 1. Left hand back down, right hand lifts back up. Turn the shoulders to the mat, bend the left knee, toes of the back foot. Step your left foot back to meet right. Lift up hips, squeeze heels back. So I'm taking option 5 on both vinyasas. So I'm bending into the knees, the elbows, and scooping the body through to chaturanga, lifting up with the chest on the inhale and sending it back to down dog on its exhale. If you're coming with me, I'm taking that again, bending into the knees, softening the elbows and scooping the body through to chaturanga. Lift the chest and send it back to down dog, lifting up at the hips and a squeeze of those heels back. Our 6th round with 1 pose on both sides. Weight stays in your left foot as your right leg lifts. Bend up the knee and stack up with the hips. Realign the hips, bring the knee to the chest. Gaze in between the hands, step your right foot through, drop your left heel, then slow. Left arm reaches up, over, straighten the right leg, Left hand down the back of the left leg as the right hand lifts up to the ceiling. Maybe find a bind with that left hand onto the waist of the right. Hold it here for a breath. Then release that bind of the left hand. We're taking it down as slow as we came up. So slow, windmill, all the way up. Turn the chest, bend the right knee, toes of the back foot, plant the hands. Step back to plank, lift hips and squeeze heels back. This one we're taking long, slow vinyasas to counts of 4. Breath in, 2, 3, 4 and lower. 2, 3, 4. Lift chest. 2, 3, 4. Your choice, back down dog. 2, 3, 4. If you've done the extra, counts for 4. Or meeting back in down dog. Then we'll take another long, slow vinyasa, coming forward. 2, 3, 4 and lower. 2, 3, 4. Lift chest. 2, 3, 4. Down dog. 2, 3, 4. All meeting back in down dog. We have one side to go with one pose on it. Weight stays in your right foot, your left leg lifts. Bend up the knee and stack up with the hips. Realign the hips, bring the knee to the chest, gaze in between the hands as you step the foot through. Right heel drops, slow. Right arm, windmills up, over. Straighten left leg, left hand up. Right hand down the back of the right leg. If you wish to find a bind of right hand to left waist or hip, and just breathe easy into that left side waist. If you've taken a bind, release the right hand, and as slow as you came up, slowly windmill back down, using the strength of the muscles. And turn the shoulders, bend the left knee, toes of the back foot, plant the hands. Step left foot back, lift hips and squeeze heels back. So I'm taking a long, slow vinyasa with a leg lift both sides, starting with the right side, raising the right leg up. Come forward to plank. 2, 3, 4 and lower. 2, 3, 4. Lift chest, drop foot. 2, 3, 4. Back to down dog or chest to thighs. 3 and 4. If you took the left leg, if you took the lift leg on the right, lift leg on the left. Come forward. 2, 3, 4 and lower. 2, 3, 4. Drop left foot. Lift. 2, 3, 4. Back down dog. 2, 3 and 4. Take a moment in down dog. Shoulders and hips reset. Then come down onto the knees, keeping the knees together, feet together, seat back towards the feet, forehead to the mat, and allow the arms to come down by the sides of the shins and let the shoulders fold over the knees. Let that breath restore. Keeping the feet together, knees together. Bring the shoulders to stack over the hips and the sit bones onto the top of the heels. Take a breath in, raise the hands to the ceiling, palms together at the top. On an out breath, bring the right fingertips to the mat and reach over to the right with the left hand. Breath in, back to centre, both hands meet. Breath out, left hand down, reach over to the left with the right hand. Breath in, back to centre. One more both sides. Right hand down, left hand reaches up and over. Breath in, back to centre. Both hands meet. Left hand down, out breath, and lean over to the left with right hand. Come back to centre. And then bringing your left hand to right knee, right hand to the toes of the right foot. Take a breath in, elongate. Take a breath out and rotate. Draw the rib cage back, draw the belly back. Breath in comes back to centre. This time right hand to left knee, left hand to left foot. Draw the ribs back. Breathe in, elongate. Breathe out and rotate. Reach both hands back up to the centre. One more both sides. Just neutralising that spine with a little articulation. Left hand, right knee, right hand to right foot. Rib cage drawn back, tailbone tucked, lower belly lifted. Reach both hands back up, one more to the other side. So rather than taking these on our backs, we're just taking them with our knees bent, taking our feet into plantar flexion. Working a little mobility through those ankles. And then bring the hands onto the knees. Push the chin into the chest. Push that lower mid-back towards the back of the mat. And really flexing through that spine. And then on an in-breath, raise the hands back up. And on an out-breath, bring the hands behind. Take an interlace of the fingers. Push the hands down towards the feet. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. And lift up through the chest. And then release the hands. Bring the feet towards the front of the mat. Bum into the centre. Arms out to a T shape. And slowly make your way to your challenging position where you feel like you wish to collapse. And hold that space for the count of 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And slowly lower the back to the floor. Bring the arms down by the sides of the body. Take the feet mat width apart. Let the feet drop out to the sides. Push the heels into the mat. Lift the bum, tuck the tailbone down, push the lower back into the floor, and then give those hips a little rock from side to side. Bring the shoulders down and away from the ears. Take a turn of the head in both directions, bringing it back to that centre space. Take a long breath in and a long sigh out through the mouth. Close the eyes. Scan from the head, over the face, the throat and the neck, the collarbones and the shoulder blades, the chest, the rib cage, belly, hip bones and sit bones, thighs, knees, calves, ankles, feet and toes, upper arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, 8 fingers, 2 thumbs. Being aware of the whole body supported by the floor. Noticing any sensations or changes from now to the beginning of class. Whether you're feeling stronger, maybe you feel a little fatigued. Whatever that may be, is what your body is right now. If you're staying here, feel free to pause the video now. And if you're coming out with me, maybe take a wriggle of those fingers, those toes, a rotation through those wrists, those ankles. Maybe you want to find a full body stretch, reaching the hands up and over the head, bringing the feet together at the bottom of the mat, pointing through the toes, the fingers, flaring the ribs, arching through that spine. And then bringing the hands back up and over, the knees in towards the chest. Maybe have a little rock of that body from side to side. So your choice to roll over to one side, or if you want to come up a little more energetically, take a hold of the creases of the knees and just rock up and down that spine a couple of times. And then the next time you come up to a seat, or make your way to a seat if you was on your side, either bring your legs into a fold or bring yourself onto your knees, whatever works for you right now. Take a roll of the shoulders up towards the ears, back down towards the hips, slight bow through the head, soft gaze to the floor. On your next breath in, reach the hands up and over the head, bring the palms together at the top, bring the hands to the chest. Have peace in your thoughts, your words, your hearts, from my heart to yours. Namaste.